relatively new and permanent multimedia installation called Buffalo Made is in place at the Buffalo and Erie County Historical Society. It's a fascinating panorama of our commercial and industrial past, filled with more than 700 inventions, products, and artifacts. Stephanie Foster, the Historical Society's Director of Public Relations, takes us on a tour that will feature the people, products, problems, and potentials that not only shaped our past, but had a hand in guiding our future. What do we have here, Stephanie?
Well, why don't we talk about raw materials?
Okay.
Here, Buffalo isn't home to fossil fuels or precious metals. Our greatest raw material and natural resource here is our water. It's allowed us to transport goods cheaply throughout the years, ever since the canal opened in 1825. And this is an amazing invention by Joseph Dart. He specifically, this part right here, the marine leg, Joseph Dart invented this in 1842. What it did is it went into the hull of a ship and it helped to unload the grain, really reducing the time it took to unload a ship and reducing the manpower necessary.
Well, this is the elevator, and this was the
this is a marine arm, yes, marine leg, sorry. And this helped make Buffalo the #1 flour milling industry in the world, and it's a title it still maintains today.
Now, with all this grain, there must have been some spin-offs, I imagine.
It's wonderful. Grain has fed our livestock, for example, thus giving rise to industries like a soap industry, leather. As a matter of fact, the leather industry is where many of Buffalo's first families, many of their capitalists made their money, like the Shulkoffs and the Rumses.
Now we have bridal shop, a spin-off from the cattle, and you said flour and cereal?
Oh, of course, we still today have a big cereal industry. Buffalo's waterfront is home to General Mills and Pillsbury, and right here in Buffalo we make most of the domestic output of Cheerios for the country, and half of the total cereal.
The grain also had another food.
It did.
Right
it didn't just feed us; it quenched our thirst. By 1863, Buffalo was home to over 35 breweries like Beck's Beer and Phoenix, and Iroquois Beer. While we only have a few left today, we still have the memories.
A lot of those names bring back some good memories, I'm sure, to a lot of Buffalonians. Well, where to next?
Well, why don't we go into the labor section? Talk about Buffalo's men and women at work. I think maybe the best example is Bethlehem Steel, which at one time employed about 21,000 people. It's an amazing amount of people. Right here, though, we have our own little recipe for steel.
Okay.
This is coal and limestone and scrap metal and iron ore, and you combine all of this and lots of water pressure and lots of air pressure, and you end up with a 7-pound steel ball. It takes all of this to make steel.
Where did we get the iron ore?
That's the last shipment out of the Mesabi Range in Minnesota, which is now closed down, unfortunately. It's the last, the coarse iron ore in North America, yes.
Well, those are the men, and see, we have some women over here. Can you tell me about them?
We do. This is a picture of women at work at the Larkin Company. They're boxing cereal and soap here. And during the war effort, there's a woman building components in an airplane module.
Okay.
So everyone did their part.
They sure did. Fine. Where to next?
Why don't we go into the labor section?
Okay. Is this more or less your skilled labor here?
Yeah, we talked a lot about labor in factories. Now let's talk a little bit about Buffalo's artisan labor. A small town here in Greater Buffalo known as East Aurora was home to a great arts and crafts movement led by Elbert Hubbard, and you can see some of the fine craftsmanship was done. These are pieces from the renewed movement that's come up in the past decade or so.
And what else do we have in here?
Well, we also have a Pierce motorette.
Motorette?
A motorette, it's a one-cylinder vehicle, and it showed their commitment to gas-powered motor vehicles. This was the first one they ever made.
It's a Pierce Arrow.
Yes, it is. As a matter of fact, that company started out making bird cages, and then it made bicycles. You can see the Pierce bike right there. And then it moved up to cars. It's an excellent example of skilled labor or craftsmen working in a factory setting.
No, that's interesting. Pierce Arrow also making a bicycle. We didn't know that. Now, above us there is another aircraft during the war days.
Sure, that's a photo mural of Bell Aerospace, hard at work during World War II.
What else do we have?
Well, why don't we walk into our capital section here right behind us, and this is where people can learn a little bit about what it takes to finance big business in Buffalo. I think some of the most extraordinary things they can learn here is that the American Express Company, the one with the credit card today, was organized right here in Buffalo, New York by William Fargo at his mansion on Delaware Avenue in Buffalo.
Wells Fargo.
Exactly. He organized Wells Fargo first. That was his experiment. And afterwards, a number of men from the community sat in his living room, or his dining room, excuse me, and organized the American Express Company.
Because we have a lot of great bankers that came through Buffalo as well. Sure.
We certainly do. Well, why don't we move over into the imagination section?
Imagination?
Yeah.
Oh,
We can learn a little bit about Buffalo-made ingenuity.
Good. We'll continue our tour of the Buffalo-made exhibit at the Historical Society in future Channel 17 reports.